I have come, and this is a realization that I experience again and again and again in these last few years. I have come to have a newfound appreciation for the power of a place. Now, what I mean is the power of a particular location to seep into every pore and to, in a sense, shape our outlook on life and what matters in life and what really doesn't matter in life. A philosopher once said this: "Tell me the landscape in which you live, and I will tell you who you are." Now, admittedly, it might strike some people as a bit simplistic, and yet I can absolutely guarantee you, I can assure you this morning, that Vinny, down there in the South Bronx, right near the Verrazano Bridge, he not only speaks differently, he experiences life and he sees it differently from Jed, some 1,500 miles to the west, sitting up in his air-conditioned cabin on his tractor, moving across the prairies as flat as a table, stretching to infinity. I remember sitting in a book-lined office across from my professor discussing a paper. The conversation at some point turned to home and where we were, our places of origin. And both of us, as it turned out, obnoxious, arrogant, loud-mouthed products of the same metropolitan area. And he said, you know, after I earned my doctorate degree in New York City, I landed a job, a teaching position in Moorhead, Minnesota, just across from the booming metropolis of Fargo, North Dakota, to talk about culture shock. Now, I got to tell you, you don't see them as often as you used to. Like, there was like a painting, a New Yorker's perspective on the world. There was New York, and then there was New Jersey and Connecticut, of course, and then there was California. And the rest of it was wide open space that, frankly, even to this day, I know people who live there wonder if there was any intelligent life west of the Hudson River. While I am here to affirm that there is plenty of intelligent life west of the Hudson River. California, I gotta be honest with you, not so sure about that. No matter what your political persuasion, you would have to agree with that. Not so sure about that. But nevertheless, I remember him saying to me, being from where he was and being in Fargo, Moorhead metropolitan area, he said, it wasn't the end of the world, but you could certainly see it from there on a clear day. Absolutely. Place matters. Where you live matters. Where you come to put down roots and say, this is my place. Whether you like it or not, the truth is it comes to shape, to a certain extent, who you are and who you are becoming. When Jesus got word that John had been arrested, now Jesus had been down in the south in Judah, he retreated north to a place called Galilee, and he moved. He left Nazareth, and he went to the lakeside village of Capernaum, nestled at the base of the Zebulun and Naphtali hills. He moved, and to try to appreciate this, looking at a map, it's about 80 miles. Now, 80 miles today is nothing if you're zipping north on I-75 at about 82 miles an hour. Just don't let the patrolman catch you. But it really isn't all that hard. But the truth is that most of us, this doesn't register with you because, well, nobody walks 80 miles anymore. Okay? Not even in the course of a month, many of us don't walk 80 miles. But if you are walking, or if you're unlucky enough to be able to move at the speed of a donkey, it's a bit of a trip. Or maybe this can help you to put it into perspective, give you some idea in terms of where he was going. We are blessed to live in the Great Lakes state, and no matter if you're in Roseville or Warren, the fact of the matter is none of us live very far from a lake that is shaped very, very much like the Sea of Galilee, a kind of heart-shaped lake, though Lake St. Clair is significantly larger at almost 500 square miles. But to put it into perspective for you, it would be kind of like moving from, I don't know, the southern end of East Point up to Alabama, okay? A very, very different world indeed. But in a sense, if you think about it, a kind of a strange move for Jesus to make. If you have something to say, if you want people to hear what you have to say, if you want to draw big crowds, then why wouldn't you move to Jerusalem? I mean, I know the Wi-Fi isn't very good there, but the fact of the matter is, come on. So this morning we find Jesus in the sticks, Jesus in the boonies. Not logical, not reasonable, not commonsensical, but the fact of the matter is, here he is. And while the surrounding of it have changed, the funny thing is the message hasn't. In fact, the message that Jesus proclaims this morning doesn't sound all that different from his cousin John. Move, because here comes the whole new world of God. Move, almost as if to say, if you don't move, you're going to get run over. A new world, an upside-down world being turned right side up. And Jesus does it with words. Words that have become part and parcel of our culture. Words that are so incredibly powerful. Even people who have never, ever gone to church in their life have heard of the prodigal son. That's how powerful it is. Words like the Good Samaritan. Names like Simon and Andrew and Rachel that would have never, do you understand me? Never entered into our vocabulary had there not been a Jesus who died and rose again. Turning the world right side up with words. Once upon a time, there was this father, and there were two sons. And the young son went to his father and said, "Dad, drop dead." That's what it means to say, "Give me my share of the inheritance." I'm from that obnoxious metropolitan area. You may not always agree with what we say, but you will never say, "What did he mean?" Right? Or with deeds. Take up your mat and walk. A single man, and this is absolutely amazing, a single individual with no money to speak of, a single man with no credentials to his name, no official office, no political power, which everybody wants, no army, but an incredibly captivating presence. Kind of like, and we've all seen this, when the air above the road on the blacktop shimmers and shakes on a scorching day, and such is the air around Jesus. There's a part of me this morning that wants to say that as Andrew and Peter and James and John respond, and immediately is the word, and they went, there's a part of me that wants to say, Matthew just isn't telling us that there had been other encounters, and that he had talked with them, and he had sown the seed, and now he was reaping the harvest, but that's not what Matthew says. He was such a powerful, compelling figure. He said, "You, come with me." And they did. There's a scene in the movie Field of Dreams. Ray Kinsella has found Doc, or Doc has found him. I don't know. I've never been able to quite figure that one out. But Ray is sitting in Doc's office in Minnesota. Ray says to Doc, he says, "I think you're supposed to come with me because there is this field." And the Doc says, "But I can't go." He said, "This is my house. This is my place." And he says, once you really find your place, the wind never blows so cold, and you feel for it like as if it were your child. And those words have always resonated with me. I guess, I don't know how many of you know this, but now I am so old, nobody wants me anymore. But a few years ago, and I never really thought about this, I guess I should have been flattered. But the bishop called me. The bishop called. And the assistant to the bishop called me twice. And then to cap it all off, the retiring pastor came to visit me, and he said to me, he closed the door, and he said to me, "Please," he said to me, "Please, will you go?" And I said, that's all well and good, and Bloomfield Hills sounds like a really nice place. But this is my place. This is where I belong.
Thank you.
The power of place. And many, many years ago, Jesus moved from Nazareth to Capernaum because every place matters. The city and the sticks, all of the places in between. New York and California, and all of the flyover country matters. Every person matters. Every place matters. And when Paul said, and I didn't even write this down this week, but it just struck me as we were reading that second lesson. The cross seems like foolishness and weakness to so many people, but what it says to me as a Christian man is that every place matters, and there is no place in the world that is God forsaken. And because every place matters, Jesus calls us, just like Peter and Andrew and James and John, he calls you to his side to partner with him. He calls you a child of God, which is not what you were when you were born. This is a little child of God. No, you were not. You were not a child of God. But you are a child of God now because you have been chosen. And imagine this, not only child of God, but he calls each and every one of you his friend. Each of you. Each and every one of you. And he says, you and you and you, we are God's embrace of a wounded world. And it is wounded. We are bearers of the most incredible message. And that is that God raises the dead. That you belong to God in your life. You belong to God when the day comes. And it's coming for all of us. When you die. And you will belong to God beyond. I told you a while ago a little snippet, a little story. And I think it was about the year 2000. It was just maybe a year after Pastor Paul had retired. And I share this story because it's true. Somebody came to me. It wasn't the bishop, but somebody came to me and sat in my office and very earnestly looked across my desk and looked into my eyes. And this person said to me, they said, you need to sell this building. That's what he said to me. It wasn't just anybody, but it was somebody from the church who came and said, you need to sell this building. Roseville is so yesterday. Everybody is moving north, and that's where this congregation needs to be. You need to sell the building. You need to leave. You need to go north. And I just thought to myself, but Roseville needs a good church, doesn't it? And East Point? Yeah.
Yes.
And Warren?
Yep.
And St. Clair Shores and Clinton Township and Harrison? And Chesterfield? Those places need a good church. Because those places matter. So I told him he could leave. Amen.